Okay, could I move on to Enkhtuul, Sharavdemberel from the National University in Mongolia. And we're going to be talking about the sustainable upgrading paths towards competitiveness for the Kashmir cluster. Okay, very important cluster for Mongolia. And can I say that we have to stick to 10 minutes maximum, Tool, and but the floor is yours. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ken. And can you see my?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move. Thank you very much, Ken. And it's very nice to see you all again. And it's my pleasure to present our research on Kashmir cluster in Mongolia, which the Professor Sevelma and me is working since 3 years with the big help of Ken and Janet. And as you know, Kashmir is really a strategic product of Mongolia because before 1990, the agricultural sector in Mongolia was very important. But now our economy deeply depends on mining industry. And Mongolia has 40% of the raw Kashmir in the world. And China is the biggest provider of the raw Kashmir. China provides 60% of the whole raw Kashmir. So Mongolia now trying to be sustainable and competitive to the Kashmir cluster, because if we can be competitive in this Kashmir sector, it can be mirrored to other agricultural products like meat and other leathers. And the Kashmir production connects the agriculture sector with the processing industry and also international trade. And as we know, the industry value chain aims to create more sustainable and competitive advantage in two ways. The first one, as we know, the competitive advantage, we are more concerning on efficiency. The other one is in differential advantage. So we need more advanced technology and innovation, superior human resource, strong brands, and sustainable and ethical raw materials. So now Mongolia just in between, because we need to define a national value proposition in this Kashmir cluster, because as you see, I just noted in red color that we have problems. So in this sector, we don't have economies of scale, production volume, and efficient internal system. But we have good locations because the raw Kashmir is, the quality of the raw Kashmir depends on the weather. If it's really cold and very dry weather, then the raw Kashmir, the quality getting better. But in different situations that we lack of the advanced technology and innovations, and we lack of human resource. But as you know, the Mongolia has nomad lifestyle, so the raw Kashmir is the sustainable and ethical raw materials processing situation. Here you can see the value chain of the Kashmir industry. So in supplier side, we have raw materials to manufacturing industry. And in our consumer side, we have the international domestic trades. And the support activities is technology development, which is quite difficult in Mongolia, and also the inventory procurements that we are depending on this technology and other supplements, chemical supplements, which helps to produce Kashmir into the sweaters. So we are heavily depends on importing those things, and human resource management is it's also questionable. And so the Kashmir cluster is how to say is we have raw materials, but the processing part is quite questionable. And here you can see the cluster mapping that I think this could be very helpful to understand what's going on in our industry, because as this year we have in total almost 10,000 raw cashmeres, but we are exporting after the primary procedure, we are exporting to China 80% of our raw cashmere. So only 20% becomes the final products. So if we could proceed all the cashmeres in final products, it can be the value added can be raised 3 times. So after 1919, the holders the number of the goats are increased 5 times. You can see this the graph here that the number of the goats in green in 1980 was around 5 million goats, but now we have 26 million goats. So the number of the goats are increased 5 times, and depending on this, the raw cashmere volume is quite high in Mongolia. And connecting to this, the international initiatives and projects are working on to reduce the goat numbers and enhance the environmental friendly agricultural production. So last 2 years, the number of the goats increased by 10%. And I think it's the impact of these cluster initiatives in agricultural industry. And in the processing industry, that we have 4 stages of the procedure. The first one, we are washing the cashmeres, and after that, we dehairing, and then it comes the carding. It means that we are having these knits, and then knitting. It means that we are the sweaters or final products are coming. So as you can see here, that the blue columns are installed capacity of this installed capacity, and the red one is the utilizing the capacity, and the green line is the outcome of the cashmere. So the capacity of the productions we are lack of in carding stage, and in final stage, the Mongolia needs to be invest in this procedure. And we collected the sales income of the companies, and in Mongolia there operates more than 200 of companies which is in processing industry, but the income is rising from the 10% to 36%, and during the COVID it's reduced to 40%. And the biggest problem in processing industry is we have more than 200 companies, but the companies which is regularly states this financial statements, it's 70 companies, and from these 70, there is if we will count the market share, the only five companies are providing the 5%, more than 5% of the market share in this domestic market. So the only 5 companies are, the big companies, and other is just the SMEs. And you can see the CGR of the cashmere sector, the big companies are staying bigger and getting more bigger. It can be seen in employment volume, because the right side on the top, we can see this the company's employment. And after 5 years in 2020, the big company has more employment than others, and it also mirrored to the sales volume. But the wage indicators in these companies is quite low comparing to national average wage, because as you can see that the yellow columns are in cashmere sector wage median, and the national median is 20% higher than in cashmere companies. So the companies are explaining this, that it's very employment consuming sector, because we need to hire people to produce the products. So that's why the average wage or median of the wage is lower than the national average. That's why also the people don't want to be working on this sector. Here's the export and import volume of the Mongolia in total, that we have a little bit more export than import, but 95% of this export relies on mining sector. You can see in the right side in red color, in all these coals, coppers, and iron ore on gold, it's 95% it's mining production, and only 2% is the cashmere and fine leather products. The main countries we are exporting is the China and the gold to Switzerland. And you can see the world cashmere export by countries, Mongolia and the rest of the world. So Mongolia is quite competitive in primary produced cashmere. It means we just exporting the washed cashmere, and the washed cashmere is we are exporting 90% of world washed cashmere, but in final production we have only 2 or 3% in world sales. So it isn't changed in last 5 years. We're still dominating in primary washed cashmere, but still the valuated final product is still missing in world market. So this is the situation in Mongolia, and we are trying to come up with the diamond analysis, how we are competitive in whole cashmere cluster in Mongolia comparing to the world. Okay, thank you, Ken.
Thank you so much, Tuul. That's been marvelous, and it's a beautifully pictorial, visual presentation. It's been a pleasure to see the information on the Kashmir cluster and how you've built that up over this last year. It's a really good looking presentation. Is there any quick questions for the Kashmir sector, or shall we move straight on? I think this is an area that we're recording this, and so we can come back to people later and we can follow up with questions later. So I think that's a great job. Well done. Thank you so much. And it's really very good of you, both to Tuul and to Sevalmar. Okay.